One.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us. It is 11:59 and we are late due to technical issues. But as always, we do come to you every Monday at 11:30 as promised. And we always bring you community members, community leaders. And we make sure that by the end of the show, you do get the resources that you need to better your business and whatever it is what you want to do with yourself. Sometimes it is personal development. Sometimes it is community resources. And today it is business resources, right? I have a guest who's a community member, who's a community leader, who's a friend of the African Leadership Group, and who has been with the African Leadership Group for a while. It is Mr. Solomon Muwanga. I hope I'm saying your last name right. Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, or I should say almost afternoon now, but yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yes, Solomon Muwanga, you said it right.
All right, Solomon Muwanga. All right, so as I was saying earlier, Solomon Muwanga has been with the African Leadership Group for a long time now. He is a board member here at the African Leadership Group. He's also the chair of the Business and Economic Opportunity Committee, which has an event that's coming up. So today we'll talk about that event, the upcoming event. We'll also talk about the committee. But before we get into that, let's talk about Mr. Solomon Muwanga and who is Solomon Muwanga.
So I guess I'm not really good at self-promoting, but I'll do a quick little introduction. Like Amadou mentioned, my name is Solomon Muwanga, and I am currently a Vice President Commercial Lending Officer with MidwestOne Bank, and I'm also serving, and I've been serving, this is my third year as a board member on the African Leadership Group. I also serve the community as the chairman, I should say the chairman of the committee, the Business Economic Opportunity Committee that was formed by ALG to basically make sure that ALG meets its economic impact goals to the community.
All right, great. So as somebody who works in the banking world and in the business banking, the business committee has been going on now for more than a year, and it is a successful committee. What are the needs that you've seen in the community that are giving the meaning of the committee, right? That are basically forced ALG to create this committee to respond to the needs. What are the needs of the community business-wise?
Right. Great question. I guess I should just talk a little bit about a little bit more about what our goals are. Like I said, the purpose of the Business and Economic Opportunity Committee is to ensure that ALG meets its economic impact goals. What that means is our goal is to put members of our community in a position where they can be able to identify opportunities, win markets, hopefully help create jobs, and also become thriving business owners so they can better themselves, better our community, and also this great state of Colorado. So what we're trying to do is have an economic impact and encourage members of our community to have an economic impact and play an active role in achieving these goals.
Right, that's great. And I think a lot of our community members some are business owners, some have adventured and are thinking about launching businesses again, and some maybe for the first time thinking about entrepreneurship and how they can start a business. With everything that has been going on with the COVID and everything that's happening in this year, is now a good time to venture into starting a business, would you say?
I would say yes. I think this is a great opportunity for a lot of different reasons. A lot of members of our community have really been just forced in this situation where their careers have either been interrupted or their jobs have simply disappeared. So they might have been on the fence in the past on whether or not to start a business, and others are just simply driven by the desire to be their own boss and create something that's their own and have pride in it. So it's a great opportunity given the circumstances we're in. It's an opportunity just like any other time to start your business, but now more than any time else, due to the other circumstances forced on us by COVID, it's even more important that we have resources to help these members of our community who are either interested in starting a business, not only starting a business, but also career changes or enhancing their career. Because again, like I said, one of the goals is to identify opportunities, and sometimes the opportunity might not necessarily be starting a new business. It might be just enhancing your skills to continue building on a professional career.
Yes, and I think it would take a lot of soul searching and research to really find out whether the best course for you would be to start your own business and everything that goes into that. And that's also something that the African Leadership Group's business committee can help you do and help you get there. But if there's somebody out there who's just freshly thinking about it and just took your advice of going ahead and doing that, I think there are steps into going to start your business, from putting together your business plan, the strategy, setting your markets, and all of that. That itself could be a topic, but just in a nutshell, what should be or what would be your advice as to what steps to follow?
That's a great question. So one of the things we try to do with the Business Economic Opportunity Committee is to achieve the goal of helping members of our community get this started through a series of different tools. The first one is through quarterly workshops or events, and we have various topics, and I'll shortly explain one that's coming up just this week. The second is work closely with other committees through leadership development. For example, our leadership program right now is looking for mentors, so we try to provide those resources either as part of the committee members or find other resources outside our committee. And then the third way we achieve this goal is identifying partnerships and sponsorship opportunities from outside our community, and find, those can be mentorships, they can be corporate sponsorships, and that kind of thing. I actually would be, before I kind of expound a little further on this upcoming event, I need to talk about my teammates, the other committee members briefly. There's currently 6 members of the committee. We have Tayo Okwande, who's an attorney. We have Lee Toko, who's a banker, also a commercial banker like myself. We have Maricela Paraquez with the Colorado International Office of International Business. We have Bill Tucker, who is a CPA with Hansen and Company. We have Jamal Bowen, who is a professor of business studies with Denver Community College. So we have a pretty strong team and have a lot of different experience and background. And some of these committee members are also panelists in a lot of the events that we hold. So those are the different ways that we try to engage the community and provide resources to start somewhere if they intend to start a business or thinking about starting a business or even a career, a different career path.
Great. Great, and I think just the wealth of knowledge that is guarded by the people, just by your committee members, right? You have Tayo Kwade, who's an attorney, right? Jamal, who's teaching business strategy, and you have Lee Tucker, who's a commercial banker, which you also are. And Maricela brings in that international perspective, especially when we talk about business within our community of African immigrants, right? Because most of us are not only interested with business in here, but also business that may be exporting or importing. So if really any kind of business that you're looking into, we have experts who can help, who can guide you through. And as we just listed, these people from business people who are teaching business strategy to commercial bankers to even lawyers who will give you the tips that you need on the legal side of the business. But we do have an event coming up this week, which is going to be the first event of your committee in 2021. And the topic is fundamentals for building and growing a successful business in the current environment, right? And just by that title, then I'm guessing there's already that this different environment has put us in an environment where probably the fundamentals of building a business have changed, or we must go into building a business with a different mindset in light of all the challenges that COVID has presented.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yes and no. I don't believe the fundamentals of starting a business change per se, but COVID has really presented a unique challenge, and we are trying to not only go back to the fundamentals in this first of hopefully 3 other events we're going to hold this year, but we decided that emphasizing the fundamentals and having a solid foundation of starting a business now more than any time does matter. And in the current time, if you don't have a solid foundation, it's hard enough starting a business, but with the challenges, unique challenges that COVID and post-COVID is going to present, having that solid foundation and knowing the fundamentals when you're starting a business is extremely important. So yes, you're right, we do have the first of our event. Last year we talked a lot about the resources that were availed to the community for businesses that had been existing businesses that had been impacted by COVID. We thought this year would be an opportunity to go back to the fundamentals for people who are deciding to start a new business during these times, and that's the reason why our very first event is going to be talking about fundamentals of building and growing a successful business in the current environment. And if I might, I'll just briefly go over hopefully some of the topics that we hope to cover. We do have a really great lineup. Like I said, one of our goals is to identify partnerships and sponsorship opportunities. So we have several really good sponsors for this event, but in addition, we have really good presenters and speakers. So this is going to be held on Thursday, January the 28th, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And we intentionally did this time so that people who have full-time jobs or have kids at school can have the opportunity to attend this event at the end of the day. So that was our goal, and hopefully this time works out very well for everybody. But real brief, I'll talk about what the agenda would be. We'll start off with the guests will be, the presenters will be our very own Jamal Bone, who's going to be talking about the fundamentals of building a business, a little bit about business planning and that kind of thing, and the marketing piece of it, and starting a business and how you can launch a successful business. We also that will be really our main presenter. And then we also have a chance to actually provide some anecdotal stories on the real life. So we actually invited a member of our community who started a business right in the midst of COVID last year, and is up and running. So we'll be sharing a successful story, and I'm really excited to have Patrick Chanor. His business is called Chocolate Bibamba, and he has a website that anybody can check on. And basically, he's importing and producing chocolate products, handcrafted chocolate products, and is in the catering and restaurant business, retail and wholesale. So he's going to be talking about his business and sharing his struggles, his challenges, and what has made him successful.
Yep.
And then we'll launch into some other question answer opportunities after this. But right before that, Tayo Okwande, who's our attorney, will also talk about the legal aspects of starting up a business, what kind of business organization you should be starting up. Again, the goal is really to cover the fundamentals of this endeavor in these times, and basically just provide the resources to be able to start this business.
Yep, and I think if you're thinking about starting a business, we'll at this event specifically we'll have everything that you need to get. And Patrick Chenu will be there. He's the founder and owner of Chocolate Bibamba, which is, as Solomon just explained, a organization and a business that works in the production of chocolates. And Patrick's story is just amazing because he started in the middle of the pandemic, right? And
Absolutely.
And aside from all the challenges and everything, his story is a successful story and a success story in the business, which is also important for us to showcase members of our community who have been able to build businesses and build not only build businesses but also build successful businesses. But I know that I for one will be attending that event. But for someone who's out there and may still have questions about the event, why should they attend this event if they're thinking about starting a business, or maybe they're saying, oh well, I've already started my business and this may not be helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, the question is, to me, is why not? Because you have a resource that you are going to be able to interact. We're trying to make this event as interactive as possible. Once our panelists and presenters are able to present their materials, there's going to be an active Q&A session for about 30-35 minutes, and we'll really welcome the community to ask us some questions that are more specific to their own challenges. But also, more importantly, is every single question that you submit, even if it will not be addressed at the event, we will be responding in detail based on different experts who might not necessarily be presenters that day, but within the committee. Like if you have accounting questions or finance-specific questions, you have the opportunity to interact with members of the committee, like myself, or Lee Taco, or Bill Tucker, who will be responding to you, and will also be providing their contact information so you can develop that one-on-one, and you can have a customized response to your own challenge. So we thought that's important to highlight the resources that we have and be a tool that you can actually, one of the tools that you can go to. In addition, we do have other resources that have reached out to us, like micro lenders that are very supportive of this event, and they really want to channel their product and their information to the community through our committee. So we'll be sharing that information, both not only during the event, but later on also on the website for ALG. So these are all resources that, and I believe that as somebody who's starting up your own business, you cannot have too much information, but you might not have enough information. So it's important that you attend and be able to at least know where to go in case something comes up and you're not able to know how to deal with that. So it's a good resource. So yeah, I think definitely if you're on the fence on starting up a business, or if you already started up but you hit some hurdles, or you're kind of in that process of, I'm not really sure this is going to work out. I think this is an event that's really going to reaffirm your commitment to moving forward with your business.
And even people saying that I've already started, because I think I heard you say something interesting in one of our meetings. You can start your business and still be considered a startup, right? How long does that process, or the process of being a startup, or who would you consider as a startup?
That's a great question. So startups are different phases of startups. There's, of course, somebody who's just completely launching a new business. That's considered a startup. But any business that will be in what we consider early growth stages, typically less than 3 years in business, we still consider that a startup, because if we use an analogy like in human development, you're still developing and still growing.
Mm-hmm.
So the business is in its infancy stages. So generally in banking, we would consider a business that's less than 3 years still startup, because they don't have that critical history that banks look for in an established business. So startup in this sense is not a bad term. It's just saying that you have not really established a long enough track record to go through an economic cycle, or have the background that banks or other potential partners can look at and say, well, he's weathered the storm, he's gone through a certain stage. So typically, if we look at just in terms of time, 3 years and less will be considered startup. So I feel a business in that stage will really benefit from this, especially if, like many businesses, they have a product and they believe in the product, but the steps to get that product to the market and actually start making money has so many different stages that this business, this event will be and even and some of this, a refresher is not a bad thing.
You could never know enough.
It gets you back on track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and definitely you could never know too much about your business, but one thing that can happen is having less information that you actually need, and finding yourself in desperate need of information, or in desperate need of resources. And as a business owner, one of the most important things is also networking, right? So in short, this event is also a networking event. There will be ample time for the experts to and answer to your questions if in the event that you actually do have questions. But earlier in this conversation, we also talked about partners and people who wanted to channel their products through the community. For some business owners who are out there and who are looking for ways to market and get in contact with our community, does the committee, the business committee, has any opportunity for sponsorship, or is looking for a sponsorship for the upcoming events?
Well, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. So we setting a goal of having not only just corporate sponsors, but we also would like to invite any other businesses within the community that would like to highlight and sponsor one of these events, and get their name out there and their product out there, to sponsor a product. And we'll try to make it as affordable as possible. But again, the whole benefit is name recognition, and also the ability to network with other businesses that are in the community. So there's that ongoing opportunity that's over and above the sponsorship of our signature event, the Africa Impact, where we hold a half day or a whole day business event. This is just an opportunity at a lower monetary level that's affordable to all different sizes of business to get their name out there and also network through sponsorship of the event. And again, as a reminder, this event is just one of a series of 2 or 3. The way we're trying to structure this is the second event will build on the first event. So the first quarter, we're talking about the fundamentals, which will be mostly just, business planning, a little bit of marketing, and a lot about the legal structure. The second will be solely dedicated to discussing financing and capital, which is a huge need in businesses. That's ongoing, especially now in COVID, where lending is tightening up, but just talking about different resources within the community and within the business community to finance or raise capital, and then the fundamentals of accounting and having the right accounting system or mechanism in place as a startup business.
Yep, yeah, and especially about the accounting system and mechanism and keeping tracks, right? Because some of the things that we've seen earlier last year, especially with the COVID and when people wanted to go out and apply for loans or get the grants, is that a lot of them were not keeping, especially within our community, people were not keeping tracks, or the systems that they have were not updated systems, right? So how important is that piece of really keeping that and building your track record as far as the finances is concerned?
Absolutely. Well, it's really important, but what's even more key is what we're trying to impact is that it doesn't have to be complicated, especially as a startup, because a lot of these businesses, there's so much going on. They have limited resources, and they really don't have a lot of money to spend on setting up complex accounting systems. And frankly, they might not need those complex accounting systems. So the goal of this next event is just to say, hey, this is how you can start really quickly and really simply by having some kind of simple system, accounting system that will work for your business so you can actually build on. But you have to have that in place, because lenders, whether they're micro lenders or commercial banks, when you get to that next step that you're requiring more capital, will need those financial records. And they have to be accurate. They don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be complex. That they have to be, they have to be accurate. They have to make sense. The numbers, the devil is in the details, and how you keep track of those details is important. So yes, it's extremely important, critical, that we talk about that from the onset versus trying to build from chaos because you didn't have it in place to start with.
Yeah, I think having that is always better than trying to go back and reverse, and trying to build that after. But I cannot let you go without asking this question, because I know a lot of business owners are hoping for any additional help from the government in forms of PPP loans or any grants. Is there anything that's new that's out here that business owners can apply for? Is there anything that may be in the skies coming soon?
Oh, absolutely. That's top of mind. I'm sure a lot of businesses, they're hearing about the new PPP payment protection rollout that just came out a couple weeks ago, that was signed into law and approved by Congress. So yes, so last year, as many might have recalled, the government quickly approved a payment protection plan program where loans that were potentially forgivable were extended to businesses that had employees, including independent contractors. So that program went well. Money was sent out, and our bank, like many banks, did process a lot of those requests for payment protection plan loans. And now most banks are working on the forgiveness part of it. And at the same time as this is winding down with the forgiveness, a new one was launched. And this one is specifically geared to businesses that are under 500 employees. And then, so this is called the second funding. So what that means, if you applied and you were able to get the first PPP loan program, you are eligible to apply and get the second PPP loan. If you are less than 500 employees in business, and then secondly, if you also demonstrate that your revenues year over year 2019-2020 were down by 25%, and I suspect a lot of businesses won't have any problems demonstrating that. So this is an opportunity that really I think every business in the community that was existing business should really take full advantage of. And what I would advise them to do is there's a lot of opportunity for businesses to apply for that, but there's also a lot of potential for fraud. There's a lot of bad actors out there trying to take advantage of that. So I would encourage you to go to the bank where you applied for the first PPP loan. They already have most of your information and they can process that for you. So the new changes in this PPP program is they've simplified the process. If you're applying for under $150,000, they're trying to make it a one-page simple application. So much less paperwork. The onus is really on there'll be more supporting documents required when you come back for forgiveness, but they're trying to make the application process as seamless as possible, as less paperwork intensive as possible. The other part of this second funding for the PPP loan that banks are going to be applying for is what they call the first-time PPP borrowers who missed out for some reason or another, who basically fell through the cracks, and a lot of them are in our community. They were either overwhelmed or there was not enough information, or they just simply never got around to getting that done. So those are considered first-time. This program also allows for first-time PPP borrowers, and again, I'm also encouraging even those first-time PPP borrowers to go to their incumbent bank. That's who's really going to be concentrating on processing those loans. SBA, the federal government, is really pushing that anybody in the community that fell through the cracks should be given some priority on these loans. So, and that's, I'm pretty sure that may be the case in our community.
Yep. Yes, and indeed that is the case in our community, and people have been asking to get that and get answers from that. But let's talk a little bit about the event. Any last words on the event, and just reminding people of what the event is about, who's going to be there, and what are what are the possible things that they can get out of attending this event?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough the importance of really having the fundamentals of starting your business, because if you have a strong foundation in a startup business, it will really help you set yourself up and gear yourself up for success. We really do have very knowledgeable panelists who are going to be presenting. Like I mentioned, Jamal Bowen, who is a professor of business. That's what he does. He's an entrepreneur. So he really has first-hand knowledge on how to help businesses start up, or businesses that are struggling come up with a solid business plan and really work on that and really implement that plan. We also have, like I said, a success story so that it can be more real to the businesses, so they can feel like there's somebody out there like them that is doing it and can do that. So that's just kind of a success story that they can say, well, if you can do it, I can do it. We also have, like I mentioned, Tayo Kwande, who's an attorney who works with businesses or different sizes, and is very well versed, especially in the employment and labor law. So that's a really great resource that we'd like you to be aware of. And Tayo actually does hold legal clinics too here, so he's a very active member of the community. And then the Q&A time is the opportunity to really bring to light some issues that you feel that maybe we might have missed. So it's an opportunity for us to give us some more feedback and information on potential topics for upcoming events. And again, the goal is these quarterly events should be building on each other from quarter to quarter, and that will culminate into a business event during the Africa Impact Week in August, where we can bring everything together and it will make sense for business owners. So absolutely don't miss. Please register. I believe the registration link is www.eventbrite.com 1331280265111, or just reach out to the very supportive staff at ALG, Amadou or Lori, who are just absolutely amazing and very supportive of this tool. But most importantly, the committee is here, the Business Economic Opportunity Committee, to serve as another tool for our community and encourage entrepreneurship, encourage economic development, career growth, and so on and so forth. So we're very excited about this, and I think, yes, absolutely, this is an event you should not miss.
Yes, thank you. And indeed, this is not an event that you should miss. There will be a lot of resources that you can benefit from, but also for business owners who are out there and who are looking at ways that they can market and reach out to our community. As Solomon just explained earlier, we are also working on a sponsorship package that's catered just to community business owners, and it is going to be really affordable for those business owners to be able to market their products to our community. So Solomon, I want to thank you for your leadership in leading successfully the business committee, but also for your just being a member of our community and making our community a better one. But what is your last word of wisdom that you can leave the community with?
Well, thank you, Amadou. I think one last thing I would like to highlight is Patrick's business that's being highlighted. We hope is going to be one of many success stories that would like to be highlighted during these business events. Our goal is to have a business from the community at each event being featured to share their story within the context of the topic. So I encourage you, you can participate as a community member or a business owner in that way. In addition to sponsorship, if you're selected as a business to be featured on that event, you have an opportunity to also be supported by the rest of the community and also by African leadership groups. So I'm very excited about that too, about these different opportunities, and we would like to continue encouraging, our community to be entrepreneurs, to be economically and financially independent, and continue to contribute to the economy of Colorado.
Yep, indeed, and that road to economic independence is a long one, but the ALG and specifically the African Leadership Group's business community is here to help you in that journey and make sure that you can build your successful businesses and gain your economic independence. But that will be all for our show today, and please remember this business event that we just talked about will be taking place this Thursday, January 28th. It will be happening from 6 to 7:30. The link will be on the Facebook video. You can go ahead and register, or you can go to our website, www.usalg.org. You can also just go to MailChimp if it's easier and research African Leadership Group, and that event will show up and you can register. But please show up. It's going to be a great event. We have resources as always from community members and business owners and community leaders. But we'll see you next Monday at 11:30, and yes, we'll see you next Monday at 11:30. We'll try to be here at 11:30 this time. We won't be late. But before then, you take care of yourself and have a great weekend, everyone. Great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We good, Professor?